Hi, today what we are going to see is it is like we have discussed about the various classification of diabetic retinopathy. In this particular presentation, what we are exactly going to discuss is what are all the signs that put DR into a particular classification of a diabetic or of the disease. So it is like we are just going to discuss what are all the classification, what are all the signs which put the DR into a particular category of a disease. Then what are all the treatments for them. Okay, so brief discussion about a treatment. These are the things which we are going to discuss for today's class. So before going into our class, so what I want to do is I just want to recap previous class. So what are they is like in the last class what we have discussed is what is microaneurysm, which is it is just an pouching of capillary walls, then which you will be able to see it as a tiny dots, and then it is like these are the FFA images of a FFA and OCT images of a microaneurysm. And then we had discussed about hard exudates, which are of due to a leakage of lipids. Then this is a and it gives you a waxy appearance in the fundus. Okay, so this is a OCT image of a hyperreflective shadow of exudates. Then here it is a retinal hemorrhage, both dot and blot hemorrhages. Then it comes to a edema, which macular edema, which is going to be a very major troublesome symptom of a patient because it is involved in the macula. So this is a FFA image of a macula, and it is seen as like a flower petal shape. Then it is like these are the we have a OCT images as well. So then we have discussed about what is clinically significant edema, which means that any edema which is within less than 500 microns from the central macula is called as clinically significant edema. Then this is a cotton wool spot, which is a kind of swelling of blood vessels. Then it is like this is a OCT of a same. Then it is like venous beading, just it is not bleeding, it is BEADANG, not bleeding. Okay, so it is like swelling and tortuosity of a blood vessel. Then it is intraretinal microvascular abnormality. We tell it as a IRMA, which is just extra venous growth which is connecting to arterioles and venules. Okay, so then it is like we have seen what is proliferative diabetic retinopathy, how it is being graded based on the neovascularization and at different locations of the retina. Then vitreous hemorrhage, how it is going to affect the vision and how it is actually getting developed. Then what it might lead to, it leads to a retinal detachment. Then these are the signs and symptoms of a diabetic retinopathy. So coming to today's class, this is like we all know this is like diabetic retinopathy can be divided into a proliferative and non-proliferative diabetic retinopathy. Then it is a diabetes macular edema, which we had discussed. Diabetic macular edema we had discussed in the previous class, whereas in this we are just going to discuss about proliferative diabetic retinopathy and non-proliferative diabetic retinopathy and their subclassifications. Okay, so in this like when there is a mild or very mild non-proliferative diabetic retinopathy, we all had discussed what is the difference between a proliferative and non-proliferative. Proliferative is like it keeps on progressing. It is like you need a very good intervention. You should give a very good intervention to stop the progression, whereas non-proliferative, it is like it develops over a time. So these are difference between the proliferative and non-proliferative. Whereas very mild, it is like very mild non-proliferative diabetic retinopathy is the starting stage where you get only a microaneurysms. So whenever you see only a microaneurysm in the retina, then it is at the stage of very mild non-proliferative diabetic retinopathy, where you can treat them with just better glycemic control. So that would be a better thing. So then comes the mild non-proliferative diabetic retinopathy, whereas which is being put under which can be found with the signs of microaneurysms plus hard exudates. You might be able to see retinal hemorrhages, I mean the dot and blot hemorrhages, then cotton wool spots also appears. Okay, so it is like these are you will be able to see it in a minimal count. Okay, so in this case, what are you supposed to do is you are supposed to start reviewing the patient every 6 months based on the severity. Okay, so then it comes to a moderate non-proliferative diabetic retinopathy, which is classified based on the signs severe retinal hemorrhage, and again they will have a cotton wool spots and venous bleeding. Okay, so it is like in case of a moderate non-proliferative diabetic retinopathy, you can have a non-urgent referral, but again it is like you should have a review of every 6 months. Whereas in case of non-proliferative diabetic retinopathy, you will have severe hemorrhages. It is like out of 4 quadrants, it is like hemorrhages will be seen in all 4 quadrants. Just think about non-proliferative in case of mild NPDR, you will be seeing hemorrhages in one quadrants, whereas in moderate you will be able to see it in 2 or 3 quadrants, whereas in case of severe you will be seeing hemorrhages in all 4 quadrants. Then you will have a venous bleeding in 2 quadrants, then IRMA in 1 quadrant. So we always tell it as a 2:1:1 ratio, or 4:2:1 ratio, or 4:2:1 rule, where it is like which is an indication of severe NPDR. 4 quadrants of retinal bleeding or hemorrhage, then 2 bleedings of venous bleeding, not bleeding, it is venous bleeding, which means a swelling and tortuosity of venous. Then it is like in 1 quadrant you will be able to see a IRMA. So IRMA will be found only in the severe stages. Okay, in case of NPDR, whereas in this cases your follow-up should be for every 4 months, because your progression to proliferative diabetic retinopathy is much higher when the patient present with the severe NPDR. Okay, so PDR is a non-proliferative diabetic retinopathy, NPDR is non-proliferative diabetic retinopathy. Okay, so these are the various stages and signs for a NPDR. So then we'll move on to proliferative diabetic retinopathy. This is again being classified into mild to moderate, then severe, then this is the one which develops into a diabetic macular edema, then advanced diabetic eye diseases. Okay, so it is like in case of mild to moderate, where what you see is you will have a neovascularization at the disc and the neovascularization elsewhere at the periphery other than the macula. So it is like so whenever you see a proliferative diabetic retinopathy, you will need a urgent treatment. So it is like in case if you are an optometrist, you are supposed to refer to an retina specialist so urgent. Okay, so your referral should be immediate referral. You are supposed to generate a immediate referral, whereas in case of severe PDR, whenever you see a PDR, you are supposed to have a immediate referral. But we'll just discuss about we have discussed about mild to moderate. We'll discuss about what is severe. In case of a severe PDR, you will have a neovascularization of disc in a count of more than 10, and then it is like you will be able to see a neovascularization of a disc with a vitreous hemorrhage. Then you will be able to see a neovascularization elsewhere as well. So it is like this is called as a proliferative diabetic retinopathy. So it is like whenever a patient is with NPDR, the patient is little safe. So it is like whereas in case if it is develops into a PDF, the patient, if they are not referred or they are not given a surgical intervention or a appropriate intervention, then it is like they might lose their vision. So next is diabetic macular edema, which we had discussed in the last slide itself. Okay, so post diabetic macular edema, it is the advanced eye diseases. It is like you will be able to, there will be too much of retinal detachment, you will be able to see a vitreous hemorrhage, then there will be neovascularization over the retina. So this is like when you see all the signs of a DR which we had discussed in the earlier classes, then it is an indication of a advanced diabetic eye disease, which is like which needs very rigorous care and intervention, without which the patient will lose their eye. Okay, just make sure you just refer the patient appropriately, so that the things goes correct. So you have a better patient referral. Okay, so then comes, it is like we'll just see about treatment modalities. So treatment can be divided into a primary, secondary and tertiary. Primary is just like just giving an make sure it is like you advise the patient properly with better glycemic control, and where you can where the risk factors can be modified. For say it is like their diet can be modified so that they can control their glycemic blood glucose level. So it is like these are the primary stages where you do it in case of a very mild and mild non-proliferative diabetic retinopathies. Say non-proliferative, yeah. Then it is like in case of a secondary is the part where you need a regular eye examination, where it starts from moderate diabetic retinopathy to severe diabetic retinopathy. This is like non-proliferative, I mean the non-proliferative NPDA. So then it is like these are the secondary intervention, whereas tertiary is the place where you do a urgent referral. So these tertiary interventions includes the laser treatment, the surgery and the injection. So injection is the anti-VEGF, laser is the photocoagulation, and other surgeries are the belt buckling, etc. So these are the treatment modalities for diabetic retinopathy. So in the upcoming classes, what we will discuss is we will just discuss about what the different treatments and how they are performed in detail one by one in the upcoming class. And then so at the end of this class, what I want everyone to do is, I have given a link to a quiz where you can attend the quiz, and then if you pass, you will be getting a certificate from the University of Melbourne, Australia. So it is like try to based on the classes which we had discussed till now, it is like you can, if you had attended, you will be able to pass. So it is like just see, if you pass it, you will again get a certification from University of Melbourne again. Okay, so it is like and one more thing, if you say it is like there are practice images, fundus images, where you can practice for whether you are able to see I mean identify or classify diabetic retinopathy at particular stage. So it is like you can practice as well at the same time. Once you do you are done with your practice, you can go finish off your visas, and then you can get a certification as well. Okay, thank you.